Once in a while, a piece of technology comes along that I feel like appeals to one person and one person alone. The snobbiest.
In these fields of gold, I'll be running free. Each step running home to me. In these fields of gold, I'll be running free.
Of course, today we're talking about the Fujifilm GFX 100 RF. So I've been testing this camera for personal photo and video stuff. Can it actually be like a daily cinematic dad camera? But also I've taken it out into the field and I shot a surprise engagement proposal with this camera. So after my experience with this camera, I want to share with the class my thoughts. This is not an in-depth review by any means. I borrowed this camera from Robert's Camera and their rental house. Shout out to them. Go check them out if you need to buy a camera or rent some gear. Now, let's get into it. Okay, so I absolutely love making internet videos so much, but when it comes to Instagram Reels specifically, I've been getting absolutely body slammed this year. It's so hard for me. So I went over to Skillshare and I said, education please. I found an amazing class that I just finished taking called Short Form Video by Sean Dalton. And this man right here may have just saved my life. Here's what I learned while scribbling like a madman while taking Sean's class. The first 3 seconds of a short form video is the most important, that first hook. Short form videos can actually be really short. They don't have to be a minute or 3 minutes. They can just be a few seconds if you want. And posting very frequently is the key to success, which I am horrible at, but I appreciate that honesty, Sean.
Thank you so much, brother.
So I took the class. I've been submitting my project to the class to get my badge and certification. Skillshare has creative classes taught by world-class creatives. There's illustrators, designers, entrepreneurs, and the platform is built to help you learn by making stuff, which is perfect for chaotic freaks like me. I gotta get my hands dirty to actually learn by experience. The first 500 people to click my link in the description or scan the QR code will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare plus 20% off your first year. Get started today. Okay, let's start with the pros and some of the obvious stuff. The premium build quality is amazing on the 100 RF. It's what you expect from Fujifilm, especially from their kind of pocketable handheld line of X100 cameras, but put in a supercharged, beefy version of that kind of a body. And they've added some fun dials and mechanics, and the tactile experience is incredible on the 100 RF. Like, let's not even worry about image quality for photo or video yet. Just using this camera feels good and it's fun. They have some really nice knobs that allow you to change settings however you want to set that up. But then they also have this little like flick dial thing that allows you to punch in on the sensor to essentially get different focal lengths out of this fixed lens. Obviously, it's not a zoom lens, it's a prime, but because there's so much resolution on this 100 megapixel sensor, 102 megapixels, whatever it is, you can get different focal length looks just by flicking this little dial and get, I think, 4 total looks out of this camera, which is pretty awesome that they've made a prime essentially 4 different primes. It's a really creative way to use a medium format sensor that's not just like a ridiculous flex. They've actually added some usability into it that makes it more fun for the shooter. And even though this is a big old fat sensor in this camera, this thing is relatively lightweight. The body is obviously bigger than the X100 5 and 6, but it's more just kind of like taller, but it feels still very compact in the hand. The lens is relatively small. That's the worst part of this camera, honestly, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Overall though, it's light enough and compact enough to carry around daily and not really be that in the way. It's not pocketable by any means, but still pretty easy to carry around with you. Now also on the camera body is a nice EVF, over 5 million dots, and a cool screen design that just tilts up. It doesn't flip out vlog style, but for a camera like this, I think a tilt screen's fine. Now, when you are using this camera to shoot photos, the autofocus was actually way faster and more accurate than I was expecting. I haven't really like fully used a Fujifilm camera as my own daily driver since the X-T4 days. If you've been here since the X-T4, comment Fuji juice below. Don't lie to me. If you're an OG from the X-T4 era on this channel, Fuji juice in the comments. I need to know who we are. That camera was my main personal and client camera for years, and I absolutely loved it. The autofocus was usable if you were really careful with it back then, but Fujifilm's definitely made improvements over the years, and it shows in this GFX 100 RF. It's not Canon, Sony, or Lumix level yet, but it is getting there, so Fujifilm, continue to do your thing, but let's just beef it up. Let's make it perfect, okay? Deal? All right, thank you. I actually went out and filmed some horses, some beautiful horses on my family's land. And the autofocus in the animal mode actually worked pretty good. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't super fast and snappy, but it could keep up. Kinda. Would I trust it shooting like fast-paced action stuff? No, but this camera's not made for that. This is made for daily use kind of stuff, not shooting burst mode horse races. But also I'm sure that having the newest lenses from Fuji and this fixed lens on the GFX, and it's an f4, so more is in focus all the time anyway, helps. But yeah, it's definitely better than the old X-T3 here. But I still love this camera, dude. That's why me and my wife have not gotten rid of it. It's just a classic. It's not the X-T4, but the X-T4 is nothing without the X-T3. So shout out to this sensor. The X-Trans4 sensor is still one of the best. Now, when I am out shooting with the 100 RF in photo or video, the experience is enjoyable, but it took me like 72 hours to figure out how to change the ISO on this camera. Turns out the top dial that you spin around to change shutter speed can actually be popped up, and then that now affects the ISO. I honestly hated it. I thought it was really finicky, and it's looser when you're spinning it for ISO versus shutter speed. It's like really clicky, like a traditional Fuji camera. It was pretty annoying, honestly. I think you can remap it, but I tried changing to other dials on the camera because you actually get plenty of dials and buttons on this camera, but I could not get ISO to work in any other place other than that pop-up dial thing. So once I actually figured out how to spin my knobs, I started shooting with this camera, and the results are everything. The proof is in the pudding. And when this camera has enough light, these photos, dude, are freaking insane. And I don't need to spend too much time harping on Fujifilm film simulations in camera. If you don't know, a quick brief overview is essentially, you know how every camera brand has their own like presets, like standard, portrait, landscape, you know what I'm talking about. Fujifilm, instead of having those kind of like boring basic presets, they have ones that are based on film stocks, and they're so beautiful, all of them. And they're customizable. You can add grain, you can lift the highlights, shadows, darken both. It's yeah. I think we're speaking the same language here, camera people. Because I could shoot JPEGs and just bake in a gorgeous look right out of camera, I was able to send the couple their photos right away. I just sent them like a few photos so they could share them with friends over text message or whatever, and it's better than a crappy iPhone photo. Now let's talk about the cons, and then we'll get into like kind of thoughts, prayers, vibes. It's cool that you can shoot internal 10-bit DCI 4K video up to 30 frames per second, I believe.
Hey, have you ever heard of my friend Cam Mackey? He likes horse.
But it is nothing special. I was pretty bummed, honestly. Like, once I was out shooting, I was excited, and then I looked at the files and I was like, dang, this camera is nearly $6,000 USD. And I feel like I got way better results with the XM5, which is their $800 APS-C camera, with the X-T3 and X-T4 sensor in it. And I loved those video files way more than this camera. And I realized this camera's probably purposed way more for photography with the fixed lens and all that stuff, but I felt like there was some weird purpleness in the shadows when I was filming the horses, and it just didn't give me the Fuji juice that I have come to expect from their cameras. The cool side of the video, I guess, is like you can bake in the film simulations into the footage, so you don't have to color grade if you don't want. But if you do want to grade, you get F-Log and F-Log 2. I will say the stabilization seems pretty disappointing. I was shooting a lot of handheld without stabilization because it seems like the digital kind of ruins the footage. It gives it that like hyper static look when you're standing still. It's trying to give it a tripod effect, where I kind of like stabilization where I can still walk around a little bit, kind of like Sony's standard stabilization. Like, it's not gonna add wobbles to your footage and stuff, but this like digital stabilization is pretty aggressive. And then there's also like a boost mode that doesn't really help that much either unless you're just standing still. I don't know, I was a little bit bummed on the video side of this camera. Like, it doesn't look terrible. Like, if you're just shooting in a pinch and you have plenty of light, I'm sure you can get really, really nice results still. The lighting is like perfect right now. I don't need ND, but the fact that I can just turn it on like that is so freaking wild to me. And the biggest con for me is obviously the fixed lens. Not the fact that it's fixed. I'm okay with that because that's what you go into buying a camera like this. That's why a lot of people buy this camera, because it's a creative limitation that just forces you to be creative. You got to move your feet to get your shot, which is really fun. But the fact that it's f4 makes me feel so weird about this being a medium format sensor. It feels like they took such an amazing sensor and they just kind of like Kind of like crumpled it. It's already a relatively big camera. Why not put a little bit bigger lens on it and make it faster? Can you imagine like f2 or f2.8 on this sensor? To me, it just doesn't make sense to spend this kind of money on a camera that I don't even feel like I really get the medium format look. I'm sure there's people out there that just love Fuji, they love medium format, they love fixed lens cameras. I think it all just comes down to what is your perceived value of a camera. You could spend $60,000 on a pretty dang nice sports car or muscle car, freaking Hellcat, something like that. Or you could spend 60K on a really nice mom SUV. One isn't objectively better or worse than the other because they're completely different, intended for completely different users to do completely different things. And if I personally had $5,600 just chilling, laying back here in this shelf, there might be, maybe I should check. I just don't see myself spending that. It seems a little ridiculous for the price and the limitations you get out of this camera. You could spend a fraction of that and get results that you are super stoked about. Whether that's a fixed lens camera or a camera with multiple lenses for still less money. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments below. I don't know. This was a weird camera to test, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, here's a little life update, I guess, for anyone who's curious. I am now trying to post once a week on this channel. I was trying to do 2 videos a week, and I was actually at a pace where I was doing that, but I could not get the brands that sponsor the channel to keep up with me in terms of them like reviewing the videos and approving them for publishing. It's so hard to be on a consistent schedule like that. So now I'm just saying, hey, every Monday, I'm posting a video, and if the sponsor's not ready, then they're gonna have to go on the next video. But I wanna keep the videos rolling because I wanna be consistent in 2026. That's like my goal for next year. I feel like this year I kinda like figured out what I wanna make. Next year it's like, all right, let's bang it out consistently. But then also that frees me up to make a video per week on the Zach Techfield channel as well. That channel's been super fun to brainstorm and start making projects. So I've been releasing videos over there too. If you haven't checked it out and you like tech stuff and fun filmmaking techniques used to make those videos, go check it out. I have a ton of fun on that channel. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for this year of support. It was an up and down year for sure, but I really do appreciate you guys so much. And I just love making YouTube videos. Like, this is what I want to do. So thank you guys for enabling that for me and my family. You guys are such a blessing from God. I really believe that. Text me when you get home so I know you're safe, and watch out for deer. Follow me on Instagram for short and dumb stuff like this. Join the Patreon for whatever we do over there. And remember that you guys are much more loved than you might even know.